I could do this if I go down each of the 5 digits, but I think that's quite wasteful. You know what? We don't have to focus on this too hard. We just say if the value is less than 100, it has 2. Otherwise it has 0. How about that? Alright, that's good. And then we have to use it. And we're going to use this star, point star. I believe that should come first. We'll see. Yeah, that's reasonable. That looks good, no? 3 digits even looks kind of clunky. Yeah, this looks good for the small numbers. Looks good for the 2-digit even. But for 3-digit, it doesn't look that good. Can you get 3-digit again? Something like ring mod will use a 3-digit. Even right here, no. I'm not used to this slidey bar. Accidentally applied the effect. Yeah, wah-wah. So for 3 digits, there's 1. I don't think we want 3 digits. How about we just do that? I think that's fine. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So I think that's it for the numbers, right? That pretty much takes care of the numbers. Before we start making, we're almost at the point where we can start making things pretty. I didn't include the label here, but there's a couple options for the label. You can write down here, like, store, parameter name, and I think that's explains it. Or we can have it the way we did, have the name go here like that. Or you can have it up here. Lots of options. Or you could have it in the background large like that in faded text. Actually no, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, it might be best just to put it right here. Problem is this is very length dependent on how good it looks. If it's out to here, it might not look so great. Phew. One more thing to worry about, but anyway, the text thing is done. That was one of the more difficult parts, so I'm going to commit now. So, text ticker marks. for effects slider. Yes, I did mean that. All right. We passed the 10,000 mark two commits ago. So there are probably, yeah, the total number of source is probably around 15,000 right now. We should probably refactor soon to shrink that down. So what we've got is pretty good. We don't have, we just are drawing the outline right now. We are not taking into account this inner thing, and I think that's important because the rectangle part looks clumsy. We can also go ahead and add a little margin here. That's crucial. But I'm going to do that later because that will need to be tweaked depending on what this inner frame will look like. I said isosceles triangle. That was just, you know, out of the top of my head. I think it's worth brainstorming a little bit more. These ramp looking things are okay too. It's not actually very hard now to decide to flip one way or the other because we have the parameter index and this is 0 and this is 1. That's how we know left and right. The good thing about having it flush to the wall though is you'll be able to see very clearly the value, and it won't take up the main center screen real estate at all. But one thing I don't like about it is it sucks. I don't like running my fingers along the side of the device for some reason. This kind of motion along the edge of the screen, I don't know, it just doesn't feel nice. So if I'm picking up, you know, iPhone, yeah, it feels like, I don't know, the thing's not having an effect because my thumb's not on the phone. I like to be a little bit more in the middle. So again, another reason to do it like this. Yeah. We could make it a skinny bar within the larger one. It doesn't have to be a triangle necessarily. But the reason I said having something that flanges out is so you can see up means more, which is the case for some of the sliders. The discrete ones are of course different. We can use a bar-like thing for them, but they're in the minority. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just draw the triangle then. And we can use some kind of gradient. That'll be the fun part, using gradient for this. Gradients really help to make things look pretty good. So I'm going to say now that the draw track outline should just go inside of this. No, I'm not going to say that. We can keep it separate for now. Yeah, so this is where we draw the outline. Drawing a triangle is not much harder. We just I'm drawing a triangle already in a couple effects. Let me think about that. Am I? Maybe I'm not, but it's not very hard. Let me show you how you do it. A triangle is drawn if you just do this basic... Where did I do that? Where's my for loop? Yeah, right here. If you do this kind of thing, begin path, moves path, and then stroke path. This will draw a line if you only call one line to path. I can't talk and type. It's very hard. Okay, but look at this. You see this? You start the path somewhere, move to some point, move to another point. If you move to a third point, no. If you just do, so it's worth drawing. You start somewhere, go to a point, move to a third point, then go back to the origin, and then you have a triangle. It's not very hard. And you can use curves and stuff to make it look even cooler. So, without any, work for me, because they provide that stuff. If you used a curve, you could get something that looks like that. Pretty easy. I don't see any value in that. If anything, I want it fat on the bottom, so like, it's hard to draw. Something like that would be nicer. Yeah, I like that. Versus that. Let's get the width the same. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think the triangle is just as good. You could have something that doesn't start as a fine point. But then again, yeah, one thing about having the fine point, some user might not like. Might feel like you have to touch in the very center. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's just get this basic line drawing. If you did add curve to point instead of add line to point, you'd pretty much get what you were looking for. And so I think there's a close path function. How can I check that? Where is it? It's in echo effect close path. Yep. So let's get this right. We start at the far left, and I'm gonna need these guys. So track left margin. Should we call that like? Right now it's 0, but let's go ahead and say there's a margin. No, you know what? We're passing the track rect, so we'll just assume we're drawing the track at the correct place. Does that make sense? Yeah. Track rect dot height divided by 2. So this is where we start. We go up to the far upper left corner, which pre-rotate means this is dot size dot height. Size dot width 0. And then we go to same old thing. We go there, and we close it. That draws the final line. Then, all right, let's